Pinocchio. Long ago, in a little village, a woodcarver named Geppetto made a wooden puppet. It looked so much like a real boy that Geppetto gave the puppet a name, Pinocchio. The old man happily danced around his workshop and showed the puppet to his cat Figaro and his goldfish Cleo. As Geppetto celebrated, a tiny traveler named Jiminy Cricket slipped into the workshop. The cricket needed a warm place to sleep that night. He watched as Geppetto set the puppet down and gazed out the window at the night sky. "The wishing star," Geppetto cried. He looked at it hopefully. "I wish that my little Pinocchio might be a real boy." Soon Geppetto, Figaro, Cleo, and Jiminy Cricket all fell asleep. Before long, a shimmering light filled the workshop and woke up Jiminy Cricket. It was the Blue Fairy. She had heard Geppetto's wish. "Little puppet made of pine, awake," commanded the Blue Fairy. She waved the magic wand over Pinocchio, and the puppet came to life. But Pinocchio was not a real boy yet. First, he had to prove that he was brave, truthful, and unselfish. Knowing Pinocchio would need help, the Blue Fairy made Jiminy Cricket the puppet's conscience. The cricket would help him choose between right and wrong. Geppetto was delighted to discover that Pinocchio could walk and talk. The old man wanted to be a good father, so he sent Pinocchio to school. Along the way, Pinocchio met a fox named Honest John and a cat named Gideon. Pinocchio told them where he was going. "School?" Honest John said. "Then you haven't heard of the easy road to success. I'm speaking, my boy, of the theater." Honest John took Pinocchio to Stromboli, who owned a traveling puppet show. Stromboli paid the fox money for the puppet. That night, Pinocchio sang and danced in Stromboli's show. The crowd cheered and threw money onto the stage. But Jiminy Cricket, who was in the audience, was worried. Later, Stromboli locked Pinocchio in a cage. "This will be your home," he said. "You'll make lots of money for me." Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket were very upset. How would the puppet ever escape? Luckily, the Blue Fairy arrived. But when she asked Pinocchio why he had missed school, he lied. His nose grew a little. Each time she asked Pinocchio a question, he lied. With each lie, his nose grew longer and longer. The Blue Fairy reminded him to always tell the truth if he wanted to become a real boy. "Oh, I will," Pinocchio promised. The Blue Fairy fixed his nose and set him free. Going home, Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket ran into Honest John again. He got Pinocchio to go to Pleasure Island. Jiminy Cricket warned Pinocchio not to go. But the puppet just wanted to have fun. He didn't think about Geppetto or that he might get worried when Pinocchio didn't come home. On Pleasure Island, Pinocchio made friends with a boy named Lampwick. Together, they explored the island. There were rides and treats, and the boys could do anything they wanted it. They got into all kinds of troubles, but they didn't care. Then after several days, Lampwick and Pinocchio had sprouted ears and a tail. They started turning into donkeys. The coachman who ran the island shouted at them, "You boys have had your fun. Now pay for it." When Lampwick changed completely into a donkey, Jiminy Cricket knew that he had to get Pinocchio off the island fast. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket finally escaped. They rushed back to Geppetto's house. When they arrived, it was empty. Just then, the Blue Fairy sent down a letter that fell from the sky. It explained that Geppetto had gone to look for Pinocchio. While he was at sea, the woodcarver's ship had been swallowed by a whale named Monstro. Geppetto was living in Monstro's belly. "I'm going to find him," Pinocchio said to Jiminy Cricket. Pinocchio ran until he got to the ocean. Then he jumped in. Jiminy Cricket was right behind him. The pair began to search. Whenever they asked other sea creatures about Monstro, they quickly swam away. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket began to think that the whale must be very scary. Meanwhile, Geppetto was fishing in Monstro's stomach. The whale had been asleep for days and had not swallowed any fish, which meant Geppetto, Figaro, and Cleo had nothing to eat. Still, all the woodcarver could think of was Pinocchio. Nearby in the ocean, a school of tuna swam frantically toward Pinocchio. He was puzzled. Then he saw Monstro. The enormous whale had awakened. Pinocchio tried to swim away, but Monstro swallowed him up. Moments later, Geppetto pulled a tuna onto the deck of his ship, with Pinocchio clutching its tail. "Father!" Pinocchio cried. "I'm so happy to see you," Geppetto said, hugging his son. "I came to save you," said Pinocchio. But Geppetto told him there was no escape. Nothing could get past Monstro's huge teeth. Pinocchio had an idea. They would build a huge fire with lots of smoke, so the whale would sneeze and open its mouth. As the fire grew, Pinocchio, Geppetto, Cleo, and Figaro climbed onto a raft. Monstro's mouth started to open. Achoo! The whale sneezed them into the ocean. "We made it!" shouted Pinocchio. Monstro was furious. He chased after the raft and smashed into it. The raft broke into pieces, knocking everyone into the water. Pinocchio grabbed Geppetto and swam. Just as Monstro was about to swallow them again, Pinocchio pulled Geppetto into a small cave in the rocks. He had saved his father. When Geppetto woke up, he was on the beach. Figaro, Cleo, and Jiminy Cricket were nearby. But they did not see Pinocchio. Jiminy Cricket found a wooden puppet lying among the rocks. Geppetto carried his son home in his arms, convinced he had lost Pinocchio forever. Back in his workshop, Geppetto set Pinocchio on the bed and wept. Then the blue fairy appeared. "Awake!" the blue fairy said, waving her wand. Pinocchio had proven himself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish. Pinocchio opened his eyes. His donkey ears and tail had disappeared. Even better, he no longer looked like a puppet. "Father, I'm alive!" he shouted. "And I'm a real boy!" "This calls for a celebration," cried Geppetto. He and Pinocchio danced happily. Geppetto's wish had come true at last. The end.